Nope, haven't bought any more cars. I've been good, been really good. I haven't even looked. Okay, that part's a lie. But I do have an update on my $1,523 96 Mystic Ford Mustang Cobra. And if you're asking how the heck did I buy a 96 Cobra for $1,523 with the clean title that also runs and drives, check out the first video on this car, or should I say cars. Today we're going to cover some of the things I'm going to do first. I bought some more parts for it because that's my favorite thing to do in the world, is acquire parts but not actually get them on the car. But we're going to get some parts on this car. It's going to look a lot different. We're going to tackle the bent suspension. We're going to put shocks on it, put new wheels on it. Yep, I bought a set of wheels and tires that I finally like. I looked at like a ton of them. I decided ultimately, after talking with a lot of you, that I'm going to put some aftermarket wheels and tires on because I think it'll look the best. And if you disagree with me, well, then you're probably welcome to buy this car when I'm done with it and put the stock wheels back on. I might keep it. Who am I kidding? Plugging away at the parts I've already bought, I've got the rear Bilsteins installed. I think that's the easiest pair of shocks that I've ever done. I don't know what I'm doing working on all this European stuff. But now it's time to get into the front and let me show you what I found. The first part of this project was to get rid of this. This is the 96 Mustang GT that someone swapped the original interior from the Cobra into. And I also pulled the engine and transmission out of it because I hope to resell those and kind of recover the cost of this entire project. But I had to leave this car a roller, so I reinstalled the front subframe. It is currently a roller, and it turns out that this car actually has a future. And as you can see, I have completely gutted the interior. I left the pedals in it for the next project, and yeah, it's all gutted. Everything that was specific to the Cobra that was reinstalled in this car is now sitting inside the shop ready to be cleaned. A big issue with the SN95 Mustangs is the driver's power seat track. I can't tell you how many of these I've seen bad, and I've been selling these seat tracks on eBay for the last 15 years. Sadly, I haven't had any good ones in the last 5, maybe 6 years. I think the cars have all dried up, and the ones I do find, they're just pretty ratted out and the seat tracks don't work. Unfortunately, this seat track is no different, and the seat track that is currently in the Cobra, that doesn't work at all. This one kind of works. I'll kind of show you what it does. I got it hooked up to my jump box, and you can see it moves that direction and makes some unhappy noises. But it also doesn't go up or down. That's just, nope, we're not gonna work. I had to use so much force to push the seat forward to get access to the rear seat bolts. And then when you put load on it, you can see it kind of cocks to the side because this doesn't move at the same rate. And there are ways to fix these seat tracks. At least this one does not appear to be physically broken. I know it may seem a little foolish to get rid of a parts car before you've finished the main project, but believe me when I tell you I have a few too many cars up here. So I'm gonna get rid of this, and if I forget something, if I leave something on it, well, I know where to get it because I'm trading this car as a roller, as a shell, to my friend for a 2005 Honda Accord with a bunch of miles and a bad engine. And I know that sounds like a really random and weird trade, but that's kind of how this business works. It's just normal. My hope is that I'll be able to sell the Accord for more than this would have scrapped for. This is about 150, maybe 200 bucks in scrap. Not a bunch of money. I think I can get more out of the Accord. I might sell it to one of my employees for some really low price, or I might haul it to the junkyard or scrap it myself. Haven't decided, but I will post the results because I want to show you guys exactly what I've got in this project from start to finish. Well, the deal is done. I've gone ahead and traded that 96 Mustang GT shell as a roller, which was probably about 100 bucks in scrap, for this 2005 Honda Accord LX with a 2.4 liter VTEC. Okay, it's not that nice of a car. This is actually the good side. Just don't look here. I'm hoping that, well, I was hoping that I'd get like 300 or 400 bucks for it, but we'll see. Back to the Cobra. I think in the first video I mentioned that it had a bunch of negative camber on the right front, and I suspected the shock was bent, and it turns out the shock is, well, it's bent. Bad. The good news is I bought a $100 set of 10,000 mile old Bilstein shocks. I know there's better stuff to put on this car, but for 100 bucks, hard to pass up. I think that shock's a little bent. What do you think? Everything went pretty smooth replacing the right front shock. Again, really easy to work on this car. Very easy. However, when I was prepping the shock for the left front, I noticed that the threads were kind of screwed up on this shock, so I'm gonna have to take this home and chase the threads, buy a new nut for it because the nut was bad. And anyway, I'll put that on at a later date, and I'll likely end up putting some camber caster correction plates on this car. I hear when you lower these things, they definitely need it, and I don't know what kind of lowering springs they are or how much lower they are than stock. They're red, if that matters. I don't know if color has anything to do with it, but I want it to be able to be aligned and drive properly, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy that, and I'll install this and the plates at the same time further down the road. Well, now it's time to install the new wheels I bought for this car. I'll show you what I've got. I think that's pretty cool. I think I did good. I guess I should bolt it on now. Decent. Well, what do you think? I'm pretty happy with these wheels, and I know I said I wanted to put the original wheels on it, but after looking at like 10,000 pictures, which is more than the actual number of cars out there, I decided to put some aftermarket wheels on it. So I began looking on Marketplace, and I found these that are brand new with brand new tires for $600. I mean, you can't even shake a stick at that. I mean, you might be able to shake a stick at it, but what a deal. And I sold the wheels off of the 96 GT, those chrome torque thrust, I can't even remember what they were. Sold those for $400. So I really only have $200 in this set of wheels. I think I did pretty good. I have to be honest, when I first bought this car, I thought, I'm just gonna turn around and sell it, or maybe I'll put it together part of the way and flip it as a project. But now that I put wheels on it, everything's different. Everything has changed. I think this car looks great now. I mean, obviously it still needs a door, still needs all of the work that I talked about in the previous video, but the wheels make the car look so much better. So much better. At this point, I have just $2,500 wrapped up in this car, and then I will be selling that 2005 Accord for whatever it ends up going for. So there is some money to be made back on that side, and I still have the engine and transmission and a few other parts off of that 96 GT. It's going to greatly reduce my total investment in this project, which is great. I still need to spend some money on it though. I need to buy exhaust for this car. I do have an X-pipe that came with that 96 GT, which is nice, but I still need to buy a catback. I also need to sort the left front suspension, put caster correction plates on the front, whatever I need to do to get this thing to drive straight and perfectly aligned. That's what I'll end up doing. I also need to buy either a seat track for the driver's side, which are very expensive used, or convert to 99 to 04 seats. Haven't decided what route I'm going to go. There's a lot of questions there. It's probably going to be whatever kind of deal I can find first. I really appreciate your time watching these videos. I hope you enjoy them, and I'll catch you on the next update.